YouTube. I thought I'd just show you how things are looking, what we have to go through today in this instalment of the library tour. So this is all non-fiction, and this is one of the last shelves to go. After this we'll just have these anthologies at the bottom and some waifs and strays around the house. But yeah, if I come out here, we're pretty much empty. I've got some books I put to one side that I might want to get to this summer, just to be safe. But I thought I'd put this here. So I thought we would just go through the shelf as we box it up, because that's where we're at. So just have some trinkets I'll move. So this pig. This is quite cool. This lights up. It's daylight now, so you can't really see. Yeah, 5-Minute Garden, a gardening book for if you're in a rush. By what's this? Leisha McAloof for consistency, is it? So you do it little but often, I suppose. Skills for Midwifery Practice, 3rd edition. Every house needs one of those. This is quite a cool book. We have foods that harm, foods that heal, an A to Z guide to safe and healthy eating. It's quite cool. Yeah, it's useful if you need to poison someone. What do we have here? We have a physiology textbook. We have medical disorders in pregnancy. Again, what house would be complete without that? This is quite cute. This is a book I had as a kid. It's a little myths and legends sort of book by Anne Pilling, illustrated by Katie MacDonald Denton. It's got some nice illustrations. Let's not do the one with the scary wolf, but you know, stuff like that. It's quite nice. Cool. And then I think we saw the mini version of this, or like the sequel to this, in another video. This is Dragonology, and this is one of my favourite sort of picture books to play with as a kid. You know, it has all these little flaps with the dragons and their eggs and how they mature and things like that. It shows you all these different kinds of dragons, and it just seemed really cool when I was a kid. This is just a Van Gogh art book that I think is Italian. It's also upside down, so I have to turn it like that, I think. And yeah, and then it's the right way around. And this is actually mainly sort of his earlier paintings, so you can see the kind of colours are quite dark actually, and not as vibrant as his later stuff. Although you can see some of the later ones in this book have a little more of the vibrancy that we used to with Van Gogh. But yeah, it's mainly his earlier stuff. I think there's some old violin music and things like that from when I was a kid. Okay, let's get these down. So this is, what's this? Michelle Guinness, a little kosher seasoning. I don't know what that is. Never read it. We don't know what that is. We have Civilization, The West and the Rest by Neil Ferguson. Not sure, I haven't read it. Yeah. Another gardening book. This is Monty Don, Down to Earth. Just a fairly comprehensive sort of reading guide, gardening guide. And I Am Malala, by Malala, how do you say her surname? Yousafzai, with Christina Lamb. Was this pretty good?
Yeah, it was pretty good. And it opened your eyes to a lot of things and made things like the conflict over there seem more human. You knew about the people a bit more.
Oh, cool. Then we have Peter Ackroyd's T.S. Eliot's biography, which is pretty good actually. I quite enjoyed it. Another literary biography. This is Jonathan Bates, Ted Hughes, An Unauthorized Life, I think. Which, yeah, again, pretty good. Very insightful. Then this is Ariel's Gift by Wagner, which is a companion, I suppose, to Birthday Letters by Ted Hughes. Have the Letters of Van Gogh, which I've only really dipped into, but it's nice to have around. I think some people have that as like a bedside book or something. It's a nice book to just dip into. This is Mission Possible by Ash Dykes, which is I think an outdoorsy kind of book. I haven't read it, it was like a gift. This is the Journal of a West Indian Proprietor by Matthew Gregory Lewis, about, so he owned a slave plantation, and it's about what it was like. Essentially it's, it's just him finding out about it because he kind of inherited it. And this is the Midwife's Tale. What's that about?
The tale of how midwives came to be sort of established, and it was written by one of my old lecturers. Oh. I only got to chapter 3 and I don't know where I stopped. Probably finished that.
Nice. And this is the Journals of Sylvia Plath, 1950 to 62, which again I've only really dipped into. I haven't really read the whole thing. It's a useful thing to have. I think that's just a pamphlet. We have more Michelle Guinness, Childhood according, Sad Animal Facts. I think this came up recently. Yeah, very fun. And an actual bird book as well. We're getting through them. The Forager's Calendar by John Wright, which is a foraging book. If you're into foraging, might be useful. And it says Wildflowers of Britain and Ireland, by Mahori, Blamey, Richard Fitter and Alistair Fitter, which sounds fun.
It is a good book.
Then we have Garden Wildlife of Britain and Europe, with a nice little hedgehog on the front. Billaire's Midwife's Dictionary. There you go. A little Welsh phrase book, and also a Welsh to English pocket dictionary.
I got given when I first came to Wales 8 years ago, and I have not really used, although now I'm learning.
Then we have a biography of Eleanor of Aquitaine by Marion Mead, which sounds interesting. Oops, sorry. Pebbles on the Beach by Clarence Ellis, about pebbles and pebble collecting. We have Underland by Robert Macfarlane, which is really, really good. Yeah, and then The Edge of the World, How the North Sea Made Us Who We Are by Michael Pye, which I think you've read.
It was very good.
Very good, yeah.
Very interesting, lots of stuff you didn't learn in school.
Yeah, I'd quite like to read this at some point, maybe later this year. Let's get a few more of these out. Oh, we've got some fun stuff here. The Cloud Spotter's Guide by Gavin Prater-Pinney.
Your sister got me that as a birthday present, and I haven't read it all, but what I have read is very good. Even though it's a non-fiction, it's very poetic.
The Language of Flowers, classic.
Always a fascination.
Essential Aromatherapy. What home would be a home without it?
Don't look at me.
Well, it's true.
That's
okay.
Aromatherapy.
Woodland Whittling, which is quite cool. A book about panic attacks by Dr. Roger Baker. It's just panic attacks and overcoming fear. A book about oxytocin.
My favourite non-fiction book.
Is it The Oxytocin Factor by Kerstin Unvas Moberg? Something like that.
Swedish, isn't it?
Soul Ties by David Cross. Unseen Bond in Relationships. We have a first aid manual. A book about curly hair, which is useful in this house. Your Body's Many Cries for Water.
Very mind-blowing book, but it took me 3 years to read, I worked out the other day.
Then we have, this is the story of Jesus, a little, you know, kids' picture book about some New Testament stories. And this is like a going away present when my family, we moved from a town in England over to Wales, and this was like their going away present when we moved when I was in primary school, which is quite cute. And then we have the drawings of Sylvia Plath. She often, you know, was kind of sketching and stuff like that when she was out and about, and I quite like her style actually. It's quite nice. There's some of her sketches of Paris. Quite cool. Ooh, it's getting full.
It is getting full.
Then we have this Ezra Pound biography that I need to find the dust jacket for. It's there. Okay, I'll get it later. Peter Ackroyd. More of a kind of coffee table style, but still very interesting.
That's not going to fit.
That's fine, we'll just make a little pile somewhere. We have How to Read and Why by Harold Bloom, which was quite nice. There's a thing with Harold Bloom books where really the titles don't really match up with what's going on in them, so it's not really what you'd think, but you know, I still enjoyed it for what it was, even if it's a bit pretentious sometimes. Then we have a book, we have a book about Hygge, is that how you say it? Hygge, which is quite cool. Just a little lifestyle guide, and then What the Romans Did for Us, you know, sort of tie in with that TV show from the 2000s. It was one of my favourite TV shows as a kid, and so this was a book. These are the kinds of books that I used to love reading when I was a kid. I didn't really read many novels, but I would eat up these sort of coffee table history, mythology sort of books, and yeah, I was totally fascinated with this when I was a kid, so I keep it around for sentimental reasons. And then we're very nearly there. We have a memoir by Kim Gordon from Sonic Youth called Girl in a Band. So back in the day when interviewers were interviewing her, they'd always ask her what's it like to be in a girl in a band, and she always found it was a really stupid question. And yeah, so that's kind of there in the background as she's telling her life story, and in a way she is telling you what it's like to be a girl in a band, but it's kind of ironic and poking fun at all the people who kept asking her that question. Then a book about Nirvana, about their recording sessions by Rob, was it Jovanovic? Which is like very nerdy. It's not like a book you can read. It literally just tells you every single recording session, even every single time when they were recording little demos in bedrooms and stuff. It tells you about it. It tells you who was there, what songs they recorded, whether they're available to listen to or not, and I think it even has like bootlegs of gigs and stuff. So it's like literally everything they ever recorded. And I actually read it really quickly. But yeah, it's a bit of a nerdy book for people who like Nirvana. And a book about Wilco, another band that I love, by Tim Grierson, Sunken Treasure, which I think goes from the foundation of the band up until about 2012, when the album The Whole Love came out. And then very lastly, for this shelf, for the non-fiction, a book about classical music, A Friendly Guide to Music by Darren Henley, sort of a classic FM book. Yeah, so there you have it. That's the whole non-fiction shelf. It's a bit of a, there's sort of all sorts of random stuff, some things that kind of reference books, but I hope you found it interesting. Please, let me know what you thought, if there are any books you've read or would like to read, and yeah, maybe what great non-fiction books am I missing out on. That'd be also good to hear. But that's all for now, and then there should just be one more video left with the waifs and strays. But yeah, thank you for watching, and bye bye.